I don't remember my parents. I've seen pictures and heard stories, but they died before I could walk. This story isn't about them though. The only reason I mention it is so that you know why I ended up living with my grandparents. They took me in and have raised me into the woman I am today. I've never felt unloved, always had clothes on my back, and never went hungry. My papi was a tall, wiry man with a long nose and a bald spot. He spent most of his time working the cattle. When he wasn't, he'd sit on the fence in the yard and stare at the line of trees at the edge of the pasture. Whenever I asked him what he was doing, he'd just laugh, pat my head and tell me that I looked just like my mother. My nana was small, polite and well-tempered. When she wasn't taking care of me, she'd sit on the porch, watching cattle graze. It was during these times that she taught me how to knit, something she did often while she sat there. When the sun went down, we'd drink cider and count the fireflies that flew past. Papi would join us and regale us with tales of his childhood adventures. They were a superstitious couple. They left milk on the windowsill at night. They picked up every penny they found. They made me carry a laminated 4-leaf clover with me at all times. We would even shortly walk with any funeral party that crossed our path to avoid bad luck. Yet, the thing they were most adamant about was the closet in my room. To be more precise, that I should never open it after 9 p.m. This rule was so important that every night as my nana tucked me in, she would repeat the rule. Every time I asked, she'd just smile, kiss my forehead and leave me sitting there in the dark. I would often find myself staring at the closet door until the weight of my eyelids pulled me into sleep. It was a rule that I only broke once and never again. I was 8. It was a weekend and the half moon shone through the window, filling my room with a blue glow. I could hear my grandparents downstairs, laughing and talking about the day. I was sitting in my bed, staring at the forbidden door. I was trying to be quiet when I slipped from my bed and wandered over to the door. The floors in the house were old, but I knew the best places to step to avoid the creaks. I remember the door being tall, blame it on my childhood imagination, but the door seemed to stretch up until it vanished into the dark. The handle of the door was so cold, and there was a slight breeze coming from under it. I remember scrunching my toes at the cold before turning the knob and letting the door swing open. I found myself staring at another me, standing in a mirror image of my room. We stood there for several minutes, till the other me leaned forward and pressed her finger to my chest. You're real, she said. Yeah, so are you, I said. Everything about the other room was the same, but reversed. From the picture on my wall I drew for school to the position of my shoes. Everything about the other me was the same, but reversed. She wore the same nightgown and the same scratch over her eye from when I fell out in the field. Is this why Nana didn't want us to open the closet? I said. I guess so. She tilted her head. Why? I raised an eyebrow. No sooner had I said it than the door to her room opened. The light from the hallway made the silhouette of my Nana look monstrous. The other me turned, surprised. I'm sorry. What have you done? Other Nana screamed with a fury I'd never seen and stalked into the room. I stood frozen as she lifted the other me into the air, her eyes hidden in shadow. I heard the other me gasp for air as other Nana screamed profanities and shook her small body. I wanted to move, to shut the door and forget this ever happened, but terror had turned my legs to stone. Never had I seen my Nana ever get this mad. She was like a feral beast, and her screams faded from words to howls and back again. Then she lifted the other me higher and then slammed her into the floor. There was a sickening crack, but other Nana just lifted her up again to slam her down harder. She did it again and again until blood ran down the cracks of the wood floor. When there wasn't enough left to lift, the other Nana began to scream and punch it in a messy rhythm. "Don't open the door after 9, she screamed over and over, as the blood spattered across the room, floor, and her face. Then she slowed down. Her wheels turned into heavy breathing. I still stood there, my mouth open and my heart beating in my ears. The smell of meat and excrement filled my nose. Sweat ran down the back of my neck as I watched her stand up and turn to face me. Then she wheeled again with a fury I could feel. I reached over, grabbed the door and slammed it shut. I never broke their rules again.